that's what a professional pitcher does.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what a big-time, big-league pitcher does. He doesn't have his stuff early on. He gives up 2 runs in the 4th, I believe, and finds a way to battle through.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gonsulius. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to take home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, and eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. With me, as usual, there he is, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian.
What an annoying game.
Annoying is the perfect word. We're going to get into it once we get into segment 1 of the show. But yes, annoying is the perfect word for what transpired on Tuesday night. Before we get into it, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when those videos go live. And they usually premiere between midnight and 1, depending on how the games go. And people chat. It's fun. So join us on YouTube. Coming up on the show, previewing the 3rd game between the Mariners and the Yankees, which is looking like a must-win at this point. Looking where Soto is ranked so far this season. But first, let's discuss Tuesday night's game because,
Yet another reason to complain about the bullpen usage, right? And this was never, I'll say this, I'm not still sour over the firing after 2017, but this is never a mistake Joe Girardi made.
Oof.
It's not.
It was one of those frustrating games because we knew going into it, Brian Wu was a good pitcher. And my God, 6 innings, only 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts. Did I erase the number?
Very surprising though, because his fastball usage, what made me think that the Yankees could have actually hit him. Mm-hmm. The Yankees hit high velocity fastball pitchers fairly well, and he made them look foolish. And I feel like this puts a damper on Clarke Schmidt's start, who he battled, and he actually, this is the sign of a really good pitcher though. Like, really good pitchers do this. When they don't have their good stuff, they give up 2 runs over 5 innings, and they squirm and they squeak and they make the right pitches at the right times, and they get through it. And, I think there's a sense of pride here for Clarke Schmidt in this start. We'll get to what happened towards the end of the game, but during the actual game, like that's what a professional pitcher does.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what a big-time, big-league pitcher does. He doesn't have his stuff early on. He gives up 2 runs in the 4th, I believe, and finds a way to battle through. That's a sense of pride for a guy doing that.
Yeah, it wasn't a terrible start. Could have been worse, could have been better. I joked on Monday's show that I didn't want him to take too much of a step back from his previous start. Mm-hmm. My bad. But it was just a frustrating game all around. I mean, it was frustrating
because you get to the end of the game and you've liked where Gleyber's been, right? And we've both talked about how we've really thought that he was turning a corner lately. And he comes into this game and really lines as Frazier said on the broadcast, he put it really well, actually. Gleyber battled himself back into the count, got it back to a favorable count, and got his pitch, and fastball up in the zone, but he's on it and puts it into the left field seats. And to get that momentum, get a nice crowd for a Tuesday night, get them back into the game, get the crowd riled up, and to just, how, as a manager, do you not update where you're right? It felt like, again, the classic, like, baseball. He had a binder telling him exactly what he was going to do. There was a script for this game. And no matter what, the script said Clayton Andrews is pitching tonight. That's what it said. Because again, not trying to offend the guy, but he's literally the last guy on the depth chart. And It's not like he came in from the minors where he was, throwing gas in the minors. He had like a 6 ERA. So he was a roster fill-in spot.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like what there isn't, like, that's what annoys me at modern day baseball, right? If the game stays 4-0, I have no problem with Clayton Andrews coming in.
Of course.
It's a 4-0 game. There's 9 outs to go. Likelihood of winning is very slim. Cool. Bring him in. Right. Let him get his feet wet. If he gives up a home run there, whatever. It's 5-0, but let him get his feet wet. Totally understood. I have no problem with it. Instead, you have no reasoning, no chance, no thought to update your plan. Your plan was we're going to him no matter what. Stacey, can you make it make sense? Because I can't. I don't understand at all why there would be no change in the. It's a 1-run game, and you kept this kid in the game. And his first pitch in his debut had to be a get me over pitch so he can get his first strike. And he puts a meatball right down the middle of the plate. It was just, I mean, it was talk about a welcome to the major leagues moment. Yeah. I can't believe there was no deviation of the plan to put in one of your better relievers once you took a lead, once you got it to 1 run.
Right. We'll find out because we're recording this like almost immediately after the game. We didn't see any post game, so we didn't see any quotes. I'm sure, at least I would hope so, that the beat writers were asking him about this. Someone had to have asked him about this. We will find out later what he had to say about it, Boone. But I just that felt like a classic Boone mistake, I guess, like a Boone boondoggle. A Boone. I mean, like,
I get Hamilton wasn't available, but I mean, Luke Weaver wasn't available.
He only threw 6 pitches.
Yeah, like he couldn't have came in that spot. It's a 1-run game, and you have the top of the order circling around in the next inning. It just, nothing about it made any sense. And I can't stand this. He did the same thing in Milwaukee, that Friday night game that we've been complaining about for the last month. He did the exact same thing. We refused to update any pitching, and he just went forward with the exact same game plan that he had earlier. I don't know. I can't get around things like this because these are moves that make it's like he punted this game.
Yeah.
He decided.
Okay, I found it. Okay. So I'm looking on my phone. If you're watching on YouTube, this is what I was doing. The bullpen budget. So yesterday, Clay Holmes obviously threw a lot of pitches. He threw 31 pitches. He wasn't coming to the game. Luke Weaver only threw 6. Nick Birdie was available. He came in later. We know what happened. Dennis Santana didn't throw any pitches yesterday. Or no, Tonkin didn't throw any pitches. Not that you'd want him in the game, but whatever. But there were a bunch of other people that you could have put in ahead of Clayton Andrews who threw 27 pitches last Tuesday, 30 pitches on Friday. So I guess maybe they thought, oh, yesterday would have been his game to throw. We might as well put him in. Like, I don't understand.
And even too, Nick Birdie's one of the better relievers in baseball. Why wouldn't you have used him when it was a 1-run game?
Right. Like, and then if he gives up the home run, it's like, oh, well, okay, it's one of these games. You put your better guy in instead of putting this kid in. Like you said, his ERA was 6.60. Yeah, like it's not like he was killing it in the minors anyway, where he's throwing 102 miles an hour and he's this top-rated prospect that, who knows. That wasn't a thought. I can't. It seems like this was in the script and Boone was never going to deviate from that at any point. When games change, there's emotion involved in a baseball game. Gleyber hits that home run and you can tell it got the crowd involved into it. He was dialed into that pitch. Why would you not give your team a chance? Right. Instead, it's like he knew that the guy with the 6 ERA was going to come in and he didn't give his team a chance, Stacey. He punted on the game prior, whether that home run was hit or Gleyber struck out. Boone had decided we're losing this game already anyway. I'm putting in the reliever who can't pitch. It makes, and this is the second game that's just happened already, where these losses start to pile up. They do. And this is now 2 losses on the year. It's 2 losses and they've had a great season so far. I'm not going to complain too much. But when a game is that close, why is a manager losing the game for us? Right. Because that's what happened. He lost the game for the Yankees tonight. This loss was on Boone. I'm sorry. It's not on the kid with a 6 ERA who's making his major league debut, who the first pitch while he's nervous in the Bronx with Jimmy Fallon is sitting in the front row, throwing a meatball over the front of the plate. That's not on him for getting up a home run there. It's on the manager for putting him in that spot. It is ridiculous. Some positive news just to mention, Stacey. Garrett Cole threw 22 pitches in a simulated game today. Looked really well. He actually had to be told to chill
by Matt Blake
Right.
because he was throwing too hard. He hit 96 a few times on the gun. He went up against Jamani Jones and Oswaldo Cabrera.
It's Jamai.
Jamani, whatever. I actually Paul O'Neill said something the other day, which I thought was very fascinating. Wouldn't you want to be the person that gets to stand? Like, you trust Cole's control. Wouldn't you want to stand in the batter's box right there just to see what that looks like?
Mm-hmm.
I would love the opportunity to do that. And they said that you're looking at possibly now a June return, which could be really significant.
Well, this is my favorite thing. So Jamai Jones said, that's probably the best 70 or 60% I've ever seen in my life, because they said he was throwing at like 70%. And then Cabrera said that he looks nasty. So he is. He feels good. He looks good. You know, I was saying earlier in the season that I didn't want them to rush him back too fast. But if he's feeling okay, then don't hold him back. You know, if everything is going the way it's supposed to go.
Matt Blake, though. I do agree with Matt Blake, though. He's throwing 96 too many pitches in a row. Yeah, that's Matt Blake's responsibility to be like, all right, chill, slow it down.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
other
than that,
the coming back part, not necessarily throwing hard, but the coming back part, sure. If he's ready to come back, don't hold him.
If he's meeting expectations, let him meet those expectations and go for it. That's how I feel.
Yep.
Stacey, on the other side, we're going to get into where the MVP rankings came out for where MLB puts them in, and some good news for Yankee fans. You got two of your guys in the top 5, which is really, really good to look at. Also, we're going to look at there were some weird comments made by Joel Sherman, who's one of the more respected reporters in all of baseball, but I wonder how Yankee fans are going to feel about this. We're going to get that onto the other side. But don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel and hit the like button on our videos and hit the notification so that you know when our videos go up. Also, you can reply to the pinned comment on our videos. That's Monday to Thursday. And if you want your questions answered on Fan Mail Friday, you can join the Locked In Insiders Club. Links in the description. You get texts from me and Stacey, and you get a 14-day free trial to try it out. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports app with more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and the most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and you can just watch the winnings roll in. And how about we go to Luis Gil? You'd think maybe he can't repeat what he did in the last game, and that's possible, but he threw 14 strikeouts in the last game. So you got to think he can get at least a 7 or 8 in this game, right? I would take over on the strikeouts for Luis Gil in this game. He's been tremendous all year. Why would he not continue it? With nearly 2 months into baseball season, don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entries, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. You can take your pick on more or less and add them to your Prize Pick entries today. You got to download the app, enter the code Locked On MLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. Again, that's code Locked On MLB. It's one word, all lowercase letters, and get that first deposit match for up to $100. Join Prize Picks today. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Locked On Sports Today is a free 24/7 streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the noise. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube with the free Amazon Fire TV channels app that's part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And don't remember that you can catch every pitch of the Yankees broadcast this year at the SXM app. I got it right. SXM app. That's with SiriusXM. All you got to do is download it, and you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast. Stacey, the MVP rankings came out from MLB. Now, these are very premature, very early, but they're still worth focusing on if it's one of your favorite players that are in the MVP rankings. Can you guess who was #1 in the AL?
I would say it was Juan Soto.
I mean, we gave it away in the last segment if you guys were continuing to listen through. But yes, it is Juan Soto. He was ranked as the leading MVP candidate. How could you really argue? His numbers have been tremendous. He's giving you power. He's giving you average. He's giving you OPS. His fielding has been better than it usually is, too. We'll get to that in a second. Judge was ranked 4th, and I think this is more impressive than Soto's 1st. And just because of the way Judge started the year, this really gives full credence to how Judge responded to that 2-week run that he went on where he went absolutely insane. This really shows how good Judge actually was, because Stacey, to be number 4 when he was non-existent for virtually an entire first month of the season, pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, that just shows you how amazing he is and how quickly he can turn it on, because once he gets on a streak, it's just insane how quickly everything comes back to him. It's really fun to watch. We've been blessed watching Aaron Judge since
he
2016.
gets dialed in really easily, right? Like he doesn't, when he has extended slumps, he clearly works on it, but he dials himself back in really easily. And that's so key to see out of your good players. It gives you confidence that he's never going to go on these extended long streaks of slumps. So he's not going to, I don't even know if he could possibly have like a Derek Jeter opening year, or was it 2005 slump? I don't even know if he has that in him, just because he's been so unbelievably consistent throughout his career. This is not a fluke anymore. I mean, this is 7 years of his career now. So we've seen enough of it. I wanted to mention too, Judge and Verdugo are known as two of the better outfielders in all of the league. All 3 Yankee outfielders this year are at a 0 OAA. That's outs above average. It's a good way that guys, I know analytics are, hit or miss sometimes, but that's a really solid way of how you measure fielding nowadays. Soto is usually well below average, and I don't never really viewed him as a below average fielder, but we haven't watched him every day, especially when he was in Washington and San Diego. I never viewed him as a bad fielder, but he is below average in all of his rankings from the start of his career. And Stacey, he's at a 0 OAA, which is really good for him compared to where he was last year in San Diego. Judge and Verdugo are also at 0. So the outfield has not been bad. They have not been above average like they normally are, but it has also not been like they're normally at like 13 outs above average, Judge and Verdugo. They're all normally really, really good. And this year they're just regular, right down the middle, average. Have you noticed any concerns in Judge's fielding and Verdugo's fielding at all? Or I mean, if they can be like this all year, I don't think this is really a concern to me.
Yeah, no, I don't see, I haven't seen any concerns. The only thing I worry about with Judge playing center is some sort of weird injury happening, but that's always a concern when it comes to Judge. But, it's unbelievable how athletic he is for someone who's that big,
Yeah.
It's just amazing the plays that he makes, because it's not just because he's tall. He's athletic. He can jump. He can do things. So it's just, he's really amazing. I feel like people don't give him enough credit, and it's just odd to even think that. But, you think of him as this big home run hitter, which he is. He'll get you doubles. He'll get on base and he'll do things. But I think that people don't appreciate his fielding as much as they should.
Yeah, you're right. Another note too, Joel Sherman was asked in a podcast recently if there's a chance, because of the communication and the words that Soto has said, if the Yankees would sign Soto mid-season, and Joel Sherman said there is a 0% chance that Soto would ever sign a deal. We can dive into this later in the week, because I do want to, because I think there's more to these comments than are actually said. I will say this in advance, Stacey. I don't think I know that Boris has been this client that's been the power agent for years now, right? But has Boris lately been nailing everything on the head with every single free agent that he's had?
No,
I mean, there are guys that
this offseason was a disaster, an absolute disaster. He lost people too. People signed away from his agency. Like, it's the what's it called? What's that phrase? The shine is coming off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's not, I mean, he is one of the more respected agents in all of sports. I'm not poo-pooing that, but let's sit for a second and just say, there's a chance that if Soto gets the deal that he wants and he loves the Bronx, why would he not say, you know what, Boris, I'll handle this on my own, and sign his deal and make sure Boris, has all the particulars in line of what Soto's asking for, the no trade clause and the little fine details of the contract. But if Soto wants to sign now, Boris is Soto's agent, okay? Scott Boris does not make the decisions for Juan Soto. Meaning, if Juan Soto wants to sign a deal mid-season, Juan Soto's going to sign a deal mid-season. It doesn't. If the Yankees offer him that, and he wants to take it, that's it. End of story. So, I know this narrative's out there that Soto, that Boris always lets his guys go to free agency. And if I was Juan Soto, full disclosure, I would go to free agency
Sure.
because it makes no sense to at this point wait this long and not have teams bid on you. I'm not arguing that. What I am arguing is whether or not Scott Boras has the ultimate decision of when Juan Soto signs. Because it seems like every media member, when you ask them if the Yankees have a chance of signing Soto at this point in the season, their response is always, oh, well, Boras clients don't. Boras doesn't get to make the final decision, okay? Because Boras, last time I checked, didn't get Snell the money that he wanted, right? Didn't get Montgomery the money that he wanted, right? A lot of these clients last year, and they held out for a long, long time in last offseason. So I wouldn't sit there and be so sure that Boras has the final opinion on Soto. We could dive into that later in the week. I just wanted to make that point clear.
I would agree with that. I mean, although if the Yankees, if Hal went up to Soto and said, here, $750.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah. Say no.
Yeah. Say no to $750. Ugh, could you imagine though? Quickly, Locked On does power rankings every week, and we just wanted to show you where the Yankees were for this week. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. If you're not on YouTube, they're number 3 behind the Phillies and the Dodgers.
Let the pitcher do the talking.
Yeah. The White Sox are last. Not surprising because they're just, they're not good. Although on Tuesday night, they shut out the Blue Jays 5-0, and Blue Jay fans were booing their team off the field.
Make it make sense.
Unbelievable.
That team doesn't score runs.
It's a weird season, right? The Royals are doing really well. It's just what is happening right now. 2024 is a little it's a little wonky right now.
The Red Sox have the best pitching staff.
Yeah, like it's strange. Then again, it's also only May 22nd. So things can change, but right now this season has the chance to be just odd, and which could be fun for some, it would be actually pretty awesome if the Royals, did something in the AL Central and surprised the hell out of everyone and made the playoffs. And people, where are these guys coming from? That's always fun to see. Bobby
Witt was in that MVP conversation too.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a good player. He's a good player. All right, coming up next, we're previewing the finale. Not the finale. That was from the last rundown with the Twins. Not the Twins, the White Sox. The third of 4 games between the Yankees and the Mariners that are turning into must-wins at this point. But we're going to preview the pitching matchup for Wednesday night's game. Locked On Yankees is sponsored by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV Channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV Channels app. And remember, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. My mouth is having a lot of issues tonight, and I don't understand what's happening.
You battled, just like Clarke Schmidt, you battled.
I battled like Clarke Schmidt, and I made it out the other side okay. Not great, but okay. Game 3 of a 4-game series in which the Yankees have lost the first 2 games in frustrating fashion. We have Bryce Miller against Nestor Cortes. Cortes looked great in his last start. He tends to pitch better at home.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that'll work out for him. Miller is 3-4 with a 3.08 ERA. Cortes is 2-4 with a 3.56 ERA. So they're close.
Yeah, looking forward to Nestor Cortes pitching at home because, again, his home starts are generally way better than his road starts.
Yeah.
So I look forward to the home starts a little more. And I think right now, if they go to the 5-man rotation, Nestor is the odd man out. I think Nestor's a full-time starter, and I can't imagine him going into the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been the worst starter they've had, and that's not a knock on Nestor Cortes because they've been. That's more of a testament on how good their rotation's actually been this year, rather than a knock on Nestor Cortes. But he has been their worst starter this year, so I look for a really good performance. Continue on what you built off of. And then Game 4, you get Castillo versus Heel, which is another really, really good matchup. So, I don't want to make a big deal of this because it's not a big deal, but the Yankees do play worse against the upper ranking teams in the AL, right? I mean, they struggle against the Mariners now. They really struggled against Baltimore when they took them on. That was the last series where you remember them actually struggling. That's actually the last time the Yankees lost 2 in a row was that series. So you don't want to let these stenches stick around, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a tough West Coast road trip coming up. Let's go on that road trip with a positive mindset for this team, right? You don't want to go into a road trip losing 3 out of 4 or losing 4 in a row. You want to go in with a positive mindset and have something to build off of because the West Coast road trips, even though you're not playing amazing teams, they're still not easy trips to go on. With the time change and everything and the long flight, teams tend to struggle out there. San Francisco is a pesky team. LA is LA, but you want to go out and you want to go out on a positive note. And I think Nestor Cortes is the guy to turn it around for them.
Let's hope so. Also, let's hope the offense kicks in a little more against Bryce Miller, who's not Brian Wu. But as you said, it would be nice to split the series and head to the West Coast because that's a long flight.
Mm-hmm.
It's better coming home from the West Coast than it is going out to the West Coast. And yeah, you would just want to have a positive result. You don't want that long plane ride thinking to yourself, man, we lost 3 out of 4. Oh my goodness, we got swept and we're going on the road. Because West Coast road trips, no matter how the teams are doing, are always tough. They just are. So
yeah, that's the point. It's never easy for teams going off of the flight and everything. So go out with a positive mindset. Don't go out feeling down on yourself.
Right. Yeah, they just need to look a little better. I don't know what's going on with them because they were just riding such a high, doing really well in those previous 2 series. And then the deflation of Monday night's loss, how quickly it happened, the way it happened, and then the deflation of Glaber contributing, getting this big home run, pulling them within a run, in front of Bernie Williams.
And then punting on the game.
Yeah. Can't do that. And for some reason, no matter how the Mariners are doing, the Yankees sometimes have trouble against them because I've been to a few games in the past where the Mariners have just... Actually, I think the last 3 times I've seen the Yankees play the Mariners at Yankee Stadium, they've lost. I'm not even kidding. 2 years ago? No, 3 years ago now, right? 21, I think it was. Because Luis Gil was pitching, right? Because then he was out with the Tommy John.
Mm-hmm.
And he pitched well in that game, but the Yankees lost 2-0. They couldn't do anything against the opposing pitcher. Another time I went, Seattle won like 15-2. It was so ugly. It was just awful. And
those are the worst train rides home.
Yeah, let's just, why am I here? It's hot, it's sweaty. And then they just looked horrible against them. And yeah, it's just one of those things, almost like no matter which team it is and no matter who's on the team, they sometimes struggle with the Mariners. It's just very strange. I don't understand that whole thing. But baseball is weird in that way because good Yankee teams, like really good Yankee teams have struggled against bad teams in good years.
Yeah.
If you look, how Baseball Reference breaks it down. My brother told me something one time where the Yankees had a year where they weren't that bad, but they lost to one team. They were like 0-12 against one team.
It's like Minnesota Twins. No matter how good they are, they can't touch the Yankees.
Yeah. And the Yankees have those teams where they just, And the Mariners seem to be one of them for some reason. When they're at home, they do better in Seattle. And I never understood that. It's weird. Anyway, I'm babbling. We need to end the show. One more time. You can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description under our YouTube videos and a 14-day free trial. You get texts from us. I texted about DJ LeMahieu. I texted about all the different roster moves on Tuesday. And you can text us questions for Fan Mail Friday. Or you can leave those questions under the pinned comment below the YouTube videos to get those questions answered for Fan Mail Friday. We do it every week. It's a lot of fun. If you're an insider, you get top priority, but we still answer your questions on YouTube. So leave them for us because we like answering your questions. It's fun. And remember, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll see you guys tomorrow.